like walk, then you can't see it.
Do what?
What happens if you like walk over there and then like start drawing something over there, you can't see it? Oh wait, never mind.
That's why it's it's better to be in class. That's
And this
really
is
the
our last
concept.
problem.
I want to get a camcorder, so I'll just come and like film.
Alright, we talked about compound inequalities. We talked about and statements, and we talked about or statements. Now, you're going to do the inequalities just like you did on your homework, but there's going to be two equations. And on the and statement, very rarely is it going to use the word and. What it's going to do is it's going to put a section where you have numbers in between two inequalities. So let me show you one of those, and oh, these are all absolute values. I'm looking for one that's not. I kind of exhausted those. All right, I'm just going to make one up. Oh wait, I got one. Alright, so I have -8 is less than or equal to 3y minus 20 is less than 52. How do I know that that's an and statement?
It shares the middle part.
It shares the middle thing. So I'm going to rewrite this into two inequalities. -8 is less than or equal to 3y minus 20. And then I'm going to take this center section. The center section goes with the left, it goes with the right. 3y minus 20 is less than 52. Now you're doing exactly what you did on your homework. Okay, you're solving these inequalities. Now, I want the variable on the left-hand side so I know which way the arrow is going to go when I graph it. So I'm going to cut and paste. I'm going to go 3y minus 20. The wider side is next to it, so it needs to be next to it when I change the sides. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So I have 3y is greater than or equal to 12. Then I'm going to divide by 3. And I'm going to have y is greater than or equal to 4. So that's one thing I'm going to graph. Then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to solve this one. Okay, I'm going to add 20 to both sides. So I have 3y is less than 72. And then when I divide that by 3, I'm going to have y is less than 24. Okay, so that's the other one that I'm going to do. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both of these numbers on one number line. So here's my number line. You don't have to do all the numbers in the middle. I've got a 4 and I've got a 24. Now, what is that line underneath? What difference does that make?
You would color in the circle.
I color in the circle, okay? I know that there is a solid circle here, and it's going to go in that direction, because that's the direction that the arrow goes in. Okay, this doesn't have a line underneath it, so what do I do right there? Open circle. Okay, and it shaded this direction. So what I'm looking for is all of that. Okay, it wants the numbers that these two have in common. What would have happened if they go in opposite directions? What if they didn't have anything in common?
Empty sets.
Then it would be empty set, because remember what they're asking for are the numbers they have in common. So if they don't have it, this right here is showing me the numbers that they have in common. I'm not going to make you sit down and write 4 through 24. Okay, this shows me what they have in common. But if they didn't have anything in common and it was an and statement, then you have to put the empty set. Okay, we're good on that? All right, let's do an or statement, and then I'll give you an and an or to do, okay? And then we'll move on to the other part. Okay, here's an or statement. 2x minus 3 is greater than 15. Now the or statements literally always have 4, okay? So it's a no-brainer there. so if we were gonna do these, we're gonna quickly solve it. I'm gonna add 3 to both sides, so I have 2x is greater than 18, x is greater than 9, right? Everybody with me? No problems here? Okay, so that's one thing that I'm gonna graph. This one, I'm gonna subtract the 3 from both sides, so I have a negative 7x is less than or equal to 14. I'm gonna divide by the negative 7, so don't forget to switch the direction of your sign. Okay, so I have that. Now, obviously on the number line, the negative 2 goes on the left. The smaller number is going to go on the left, okay? The larger number is going to go on the right. So, I have greater than 2. But now look here. I have greater than 9, okay? So basically, my answer is x is greater than negative 2. Why is that true?
Because it includes everything past.
It includes everything. Remember, I'm just looking for what's in either problem. So anything from this point on is going to be in either one of those problems. Okay, now obviously between here and here is only in this one. But I don't care because it's an or statement. I'm okay as long as it fits in one of the two.
Oh, we did this last year, right?
Yeah. This is kind of just review, but I didn't give you homework on it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going back and reviewing it with you
Yeah.
before I go on, and you'll have homework on this, but we're gonna go one step further with it, and we're gonna talk about absolute values. But yes, this is what we did yesterday, okay? Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna give you an and an or to do, okay? See how you do that. Alright, this one actually has the word and in it, and occasionally they do that. Okay, there's your and statement. And then this one's your or. So work on those two. I wish I had a pause button.
Or do we only have to do one?
No, you still have to do both. Nice try, Ren. Nice try. guys keep working and I'm gonna work on them up here, but don't look up until after you're done, okay? Okay.
What was the first one for you? As soon as it's just
Right, because that one's gonna continue on, so any of these numbers over here, they have in common.
I got the
That was just a little
I
different.
said, realize that.
That makes sense.
So you just leave the second one just like that?
Because I don't care if they have anything in common or not. How did you get it?
Kind of.
Kind of? Did you get the 7 and the -4?
Yeah, but I got it facing the wrong way.
Okay, did you switch your inequality here?
No.
Because see, you're dividing by a 5, a -5. So therefore you have to switch the sign.
Okay.
Okay, this one, did you get the -4 there? So this one you got?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just the sign on this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, is everybody done? Okay, if you look at this, the reason why this one is different, remember, I'm looking for what they have in common. If it's greater than -4, it continues on forever and ever. Well, this section right here, they don't have in common, because it's greater than the 7, so that continues that direction. So once this hits right here, then they have everything in common. Okay, we see that? Okay, this one over here, any problems on this one? Everybody got that one? Okay, all right, very good. All right, we're gonna go on, and we're gonna combine the inequality with the absolute value. Now what happens with these is now all of a sudden, they don't tell me whether they're and or, but I'm still graphing and I'm still making 2 equations out of them. So, there's a little trick. And if you'll remember my trick, you'll have it. on the absolute value ones, if I have, let's say I've got those two things, okay? What sign is that? What is that?
Greater than or equal to.
Okay, it's a greater than or equal to, right? Okay, well, we're gonna pretend that we don't know how to spell very well. Okay, so this is my great or sign. Okay, so anytime you see a greater than or equal to, you know it's an or. You can exaggerate your speech. It's a great or sign. Okay, this one is a less than sign. Okay, so exaggerate your speech on that one too, and you will get that. I'm telling you, it works. Rather than just having it memorized, hopefully you'll remember that if I see a less than sign, if I just kind of draw it out, less than, I'll hear the word and in it. Okay, so does that make sense? You with me so far? Okay. So let's say I've got one that looks like this. Start out easy.
You missed the spot.
I'm sure I did. It's a pretty big board, so it's hard to get it all.
Can you make them all?
No, doing it for you.
Okay, so I have an absolute value and I have an inequality. So the very first thing that I have to figure out is this a less than or a greater than sign? And whether it means and or. So which is this? Is this less than or greater? This is less than, so I have an and sign. And you're going, that's great, that's wonderful, but I don't have two equations. Oh yeah, I do, because it's an absolute value. So on the inequalities, I'm going to write it exactly like it is without the absolute value. And then I'm going to take what's in the absolute value, I'm going to switch the direction of the sign, and I'm going to put the opposite of that every single time. Okay? So write it as it is, write what's in the absolute value, switch the direction of the sign, and take the opposite of that number. So if this is a negative, this is a positive. If this is a positive, this is a negative. Okay, now I don't really have anything to solve here, so I'm going to graph it. So I have a positive 7, I have a negative 7, I have an open circle on both. This goes this direction, this goes this direction. Poor Thomas can't see through me. The name might not be able to see, but I don't know. Okay, so that's what I graph. Okay, does that make sense? Yes, no, maybe. It's not hard, it's just putting the two things together. All right, let's do another one. How about this one? Go ahead and give that one a try. Okay, you're going to try and figure out whether it's, well, go ahead and figure out whether
that one, the one you're gonna
do, whether it's and or, and then remember you're going to write it as it is, then you're going to write it, flip the inequality, and take the opposite of the sign. That's going to be how you create your two problems. I lost you on that, didn't I?
I forgot how you know if it's an and or. The signs.
What is that?
Greater than or equal.
Great, exaggerated.
Great or.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
How sweet.
This anyway.
You know, you could just